everybody, it's Drew with Southern Yankee Innovations, and it's midsummer, and it's time to do some canning of some tomatoes. I usually turn mine all into tomato sauce, just a whole lot better than what you can buy at the store. So this is all I do. I don't blanch them or anything. They're mostly Romanos. There's some other stuff mixed in. I'll just go ahead and quarter them up, make them small enough where they'll fit into my KitchenAid attachment for takes all the seeds and the skin and every core and everything right out of it.
Like I said, the first thing I do is I go ahead and cut them into small enough pieces where they'll fit into the vegetable strainer just fine. Some of them still have the stem on them, so I will take that off. I use varied ripenesses. Most of them would be just a little bit of orange red, but I try to the deeper the better. This is only my second year of canning, and I found this to be a pretty reasonable way to do sauce and not have to spend too much money. We already had the KitchenAid mixer, so that obviously helped, but I think that the strainer was like 40 bucks or 50 bucks, something like that. And it's easier than blanching and less work than trying to blanch them and core them and everything. I mean, this is about as easy as it gets. You can see that you still get a lot of the meat part of the tomato, but you're not getting all the seeds and the skin. My spaghetti sauce recipe calls for it's like 22 pounds of tomatoes. I'll be honest, I don't really measure anymore. I just kind of have a rough idea of when it's time to make some. I'll end up with 3/4 of that pot, or just about 2 of those KitchenAid bowls. So I use 3 cups of onion. I only had 1 onion. I forgot to go grocery shopping, so I just used the 1 onion and 4 green peppers, and for some reason I'm not getting many green peppers out of the garden this year, but I had a bunch of banana peppers, so I just threw all them in, and all I'll do is put them in the blender. With the kids, it's just easier just to make a very fine sauce instead of a chunky sauce, and so I'll just put it all in the blender and then pour it in and mix it all up. They're just trying to help me skin the onion. To help it blend, I'll throw in a little bit of garlic juice along with a scoop of garlic. It calls for 12 cloves of garlic. Here just depends on how chunky you want it. Like I said, with the kids, it's just easier to go as smooth as I can, so I let it go pretty good. But if you want it a little more chunky, you don't have to grind it along, or you could just chop it up and put it in that way. So now we'll do 2 tablespoons of brown sugar. I usually use maple syrup. Unfortunately, we didn't get any this year from up in New York where we're from, so brown sugar it is, and then 2 bay leaves. olive oil. We pulled some fresh basil from the garden, so we put that in. Pepper to taste, and then 1/8 of a cup of salt. Do crushed red pepper, oregano seasoning, and Italian seasoning to taste. And then I let it cook on low for pretty much all day. Sometimes, depending on when I start it, I'll split it in half and do it over 2 days. It ends up dropping about 1.5 to 2 inches in the pot, and then you just cook it down to your desired thickness. The thicker, the better it covers. If you want it a little bit thinner, that's kind of what we do. And then when we cook it, we'll add a thing of paste in it and kind of stretch it out a little bit, and covers the noodles a little bit better. I use the funnel and I fill them up to about 1/2 inch from the top. If you put too much in, I just use a baster and then try to even them out so they're all right about 1/2 inch. That ended up making 11 pints, which isn't too bad. When I'm canning tomato sauce, I use a teaspoon of lemon juice per pint. I think it's like a tablespoon if you use a quart. And I just throw a little splash in each, and then I'll screw the lid on just until it gets a little tight, which if you're doing it on like the flat top like I am, you'll start to screw the lid on and you'll actually see the jar start to spin. I don't have a pressure canner, so I Waterbath can. All I do is set up my turkey fryer setup with about 1/2 a pot of water, and I'll put all my jars in. And then when I do tomato sauce, I put them in boiling water for 35 minutes. After the 35 minutes is up, I'll turn all the gas off and I'll let them sit for 5 more minutes. Then I'll pull them off the heat and let them seal. I'll leave them out overnight, and then the next morning I'll just go through and check and make sure they're all sealed and put them into storage.